begin this morning with a big story from over the weekend, and a tragic one at that. Israel is at war this morning, and our country is sending in help.
Saturday's attack by Hamas left more than 1,100 people dead on both sides, and Americans are reportedly among those killed and missing. This morning, the fighting continues. Since the attacks began, Israel given the green light for significant military steps to retaliate against Hamas for the gruesome surprise attack that left so many dead. Meanwhile, the U.S. is stepping in by helping Israel. They are moving an aircraft carrier strike group and military aircraft closer to Israel. It's a show of support just days after Palestinian militants launch an invasion on Israel territory.
Washington, D.C. correspondent Rashad Hudson joins us now live with the very latest on this important story. Good morning, Rashad.
That the United States stands with Israel.
Speaking by phone to Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, President Biden says America's commitment to the country's security is unwavering. On the call, they discussed the taking of hostages by Hamas terrorists, including entire families.
This is not a moment for any party hostile to Israel to exploit these attacks to seek advantage.
The U.S. is sending a carrier strike group to the region in support of Israel, which includes the Navy aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford.
The focus now has to be on making sure that Israel has what it needs to deal with this attack.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken told NBC News that no one saw the attack coming, which raises the question of was this an intelligence failure? On Capitol Hill, members of Congress are warning that the lack of a House Speaker will hinder America's ability to respond.
What kind of message are we sending to our adversaries when we can't govern, when we're dysfunctional?
Solve problems on behalf of the American people, as well as our national security considerations in terms of being there for Israel.
And that was Rashad Hudson reporting. Now, as you heard, President Biden is pledging his support to help Israel. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is ordering a naval strike group to sail to the eastern Mediterranean, and that'll put it in a better location to assist Israel. The USS Gerald Ford, as you heard of, is the newest and most advanced aircraft carrier with nearly 5,000 sailors on board and a deck of warplanes accompanied by cruisers and destroyers. It's a show of force that is meant to be ready to respond to anything. And as air raid sirens echoed across Israel, a journalist from our sister station in New York just happened to be there when the war began.
Henry Rossoff spoke with her via Zoom. She was visiting family and says no one saw the attack coming.
Air raid sirens continue to echo across Israel as thousands of rockets launched by Hamas terrorists in the Gaza Strip hound the Jewish state. Some, but not all, are intercepted by the Iron Dome defense system.
If there was no Iron Dome, we would not be having this conversation right now. And that is a fact. And that is what is absolutely horrifying.
Former Pix 11 reporter Rebecca Solomon shared this video as she rushed into a room that doubles as a bomb shelter. She's visiting her husband's family with their 7-month-old and says the country was caught completely off guard.
I can't even comprehend how Hamas can hurt innocent people, but here we are. It's a war, and there's going to be a lot of problems in the coming days and weeks. And, you know, I'm just here to protect my daughter and be with my family.
Solomon reports that as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu begins the counteroffensive, more Hamas rockets are ranging farther and farther into Israel, including the Tel Aviv area, where she is, about an hour from Gaza. The true terror seems to be because of the incursion by Hamas ground forces into residential neighborhoods.
Terrorists came into the houses looking for people to kill, to kidnap. They burned the houses.
The United States stands with Israel. We will not ever fail to have their back. We'll make sure that they have the help their citizens need and they can continue to defend themselves.
Back home, the NYPD is beefing up its presence around Jewish houses of worship and certain Palestinian sites, including the Mission in New York City. Officers are already on high alert with the Jewish holiday of Sukkot ending with celebrations this weekend. Local groups, including the Jewish Federation of Northern New Jersey, are buttoning up their security protocols, planning rallies of support, and demanding American leaders stand with Israel.
We've notified all the local law enforcement. We're making sure our synagogues, our day schools, our Jewish institutions are safe.
And that was Henry Rossoff reporting. Well, the Pilots Union for American Airlines is directing members to refuse to fly to Israel, citing the ongoing war between Israel and the Palestinians in Gaza. The union president saying in an email that the company's pilots should not fly to Israel until they, quote, can be reasonably assured of the region's safety and security, end quote. The email cites the recent advisory from the U.S. State Department warning that the current situation in Israel continues to be unpredictable and that mortar and rocket fire can take place without warning, putting all aircraft in danger. And in the wake of the Hamas attacks on Israel, Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner releasing this statement on X, formerly known as Twitter. Quote, we are saddened and condemn the attack of the state of Israel and its people. In the light of these attacks, the city is enhancing security around synagogues and other potential venues throughout the city. And he's talking about the city of Houston.